If it is 12:30 on a Tuesday, that means it's time for Asian House Vols Talk with Caleb Calhoun of All for Tennessee, and of course myself, Marky Billson here on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. And, well, we've just concluded media days with the SEC, with the ACC. We've done it with the Southern Conference, but you're here to talk Vols. So, yeah, let's talk about this pick to finish fifth. We've been, sort of discussing, and I think that the idea with Tennessee this year is really if everything goes right, 8-4. If everything really goes sour, then it's another losing record. But what do you think? Fifth place, not where Tennessee fans want to be, but is it an accurate pick, in your opinion, behind South Carolina and Missouri?
I think it is. Personally, I think Tennessee may actually end up being better than South Carolina this year. But
I can see that.
There's no point denying the fact that, there's no exactly, and I just think there's the reason they kept it behind, and the issue you can't ignore that Tennessee is 0-7 against Will Muschamp.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they are, but they are, and South Carolina does have a senior quarterback. They struggled last year, but they still made a bowl, and Tennessee didn't. And so I think for right now, I think it's more. There's more tepidness, and that's why there's concern about putting Tennessee ahead of South Carolina. I'll say this much. Vegas set the win total for, I was talking about this the other day with a friend, they set the win total for Kentucky, I think, the same as Tennessee. And at first I thought that was crazy. But then I realized Kentucky's got an easier non-conference schedule than Tennessee does, even. And they got 4 wins locked in right there. So that game could be the game to determine what the final team in the SEC East is to go to a bowl game.
Well, now, I mean, you're suggesting here because BYU could be a team that, I see them picked, and, they're not picked necessarily to do all that well, but they've got a pretty good quarterback coming back who completed all of his passes for more than 300 yards in his bowl game. And so, you think, okay, maybe if they can light it up, if they throw real well, and, Guarantano still continues to be this guy that's 150 yards a game or so, then, maybe BYU does have a chance in that game, that sort of thing. I can understand that. But let's just look at this here as I see one prediction, I think it was in 24/7, with the Knoxville News Sentinel, Vols 24/7, that they had them at 8-4. Everything goes well. Losing only to Missouri, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Okay, and I can see that as well. But how much of a red light was it, in your opinion, that nobody, except for Callaway on the kick returns, made the All SEC team preseason? Not even third team. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that threw me off a lot. The one that really baffled me is how Terrell Taylor didn't make preseason All SEC. He leads all returning defenders in sacks, all returning defenders in forced fumbles, and is tied for third among all returning defenders in tackles for a loss. And he's on the Buckets Award preseason watch list. And so I'm just like, how in the world does he not make it at least one of the teams? And the other one that threw me off was Bryce Thompson. You're talking about a freshman All-American, and he can't make one of the preseason All-SEC teams. And so those two things were a little eye-opening, but there were a few others I said in a blog that I felt maybe should have gotten consideration, but those were the only two blatantly clear ones. But you're right, outside of that, there aren't that many. I think one of the things that Jerry Brewer said at SEC Media Days that he got right was he said, quote, we're on the potential side of things when he was in an interview, and he basically acknowledged that he thinks there's a lot of talent on the team this year, but it's so unproven. I mean, he was right when he said that Tennessee's got 2 backup quarterbacks, and neither of them have ever played a snap at college football. They've only got 1 quarterback on the roster who's ever taken a snap at the college level. And so there's just so many, a lot of this with Tennessee's projection based on what we saw from some of the people last year, what we expect from some of their recruits this year, but, we have no idea what to make of a lot of these players that are coming in.
What was your thoughts last week when Matt Hayes, a Bleacher Report, pretty decent reporter, but he said, are the elite days for Tennessee, they're gone. Now, we've talked a little bit about this. I do think that the parameters of college football have changed. I think the best way for Tennessee to be elite again is that we have a structure in which the players are paid, because there is still a lot of money coming into the Tennessee football program. I mean, a lot of money, and that would be a huge advantage. I mean, you'd have in my opinion, the Texas Longhorns would be the New York Yankees, the Vols would be the Boston Red Sox, and heaven help the rest of college football. That would be my opinion here. But barring that, which isn't on the horizon, what do you think? Is Hayes right? I mean, it has been 12 years since there's been a division title.
I think that where he's right is, I actually don't think, because he talks about the last 12 years, I don't think the landscape of college football for Tennessee State is too much different from where it was in the 90s, except for the fact that a lot of the other states are finally getting their recruits to stay home. But what I do think has happened is, with Tennessee, the scope is the same no matter what. You still have to go national to recruit for Tennessee.
Yes.
That's much, much harder if you're Tennessee than it's much harder than it is if you just close off disclosure your state. Excuse me real quick. Sorry. But I think that what has really happened is when you recruit nationally, you can't be as particular about the character of the players you're recruiting. And I think that really did Phil Fulmer in back in the mid-2000s. Remember, there was a series of years where he had a ton of arrests. The Fulmer Cup was named after him. Things like that, because you can't just be as particular when you're recruiting nationally.
Yeah. I mean, it eventually brought down Miami. Matt Hayes' previous article, actually, was how it brought down Florida State. Jameis Winston and all that. That was the previous article that he'd written for Bleacher Report. So you're on to something there, Caleb Calhoun. That's why we like having you on, and why I think Caleb Calhoun is one of the...
Look at what it did to Florida. Florida has still not recovered from how Urban Meyer wrecked the program.
That is a very good point. And that's tremendous. Aaron Hernandez and all that. Got to give him credit for trying to calm him down, rooming him with Tim Tebow, though. You had to give him credit for that.
It probably wasn't a good idea though to have Brandon Spike be his mentor. Brandon Spike's a pretty bad guy himself.
Hey, I got to yesterday. I wrote up my monologue, and all of a sudden I turned open. I saw that Bert Rechichar last Friday had passed away. Somebody I'd written about. I'd met him. He was Western Pennsylvanian, actually, and served some of his retirement driving around the bus for the Belle Vernon girls soccer team. You probably didn't know that. But one of the things that I thought about was, 1951, here's the captain of the national champions, and he also played baseball and led that team to the College World Series. He could have played either pro football or baseball. In his first NFL game, all he did was kick the longest field goal in the history of the NFL. Is Bert Rechichar the best two-sport athlete in the history of Tennessee? You know the history of this program. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a good question. He might be. I never even thought about that, but I mean, if you compare him to anybody else, not only did he win a national, he won, as I wrote yesterday, he actually won back-to-back national champions. I think it's fair to refer to the 1950 team as a national title team because multiple selectors did. It's much more legit than the 1967 team, which should not be claiming a national championship.
Yeah, no, I don't like it when they do that. That's like Penn State trying to put their New York Times poll up on the for '94 at Beaver Stadium. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rechichar won back-to-back national titles at Tennessee, and then he won back-to-back NFL titles with the Colts, which is a very rare accomplishment to do it in college and the pros. But you're right. He also led the Vols to the College World Series, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but not only did he lead the Vols to the College World Series, but Tennessee lost, I think, on the last game that year by 1 run to Oklahoma. And that was the closest they ever came to winning the college baseball national championship.
I was not quite aware of how that.
About this, but,
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry, please.
I joke about this, but you take that year in 51, and then you take what happened with Monica Abbott in 2007. Tennessee is about 2 plays away from men's basketball being the only major sport where they don't have a national championship in.
Interesting. Well, Tennessee historically, I think, has been from, football all the way down to, let's say, track and field, if you look at the total championships, it's always been, in my opinion, the best overall athletic program in the SEC, at least historically. Now, that requires that we put, say, track and field and women's basketball on the same level as men's basketball and football. But if you're looking at that, and if you're doing that, like the Title IX people think that you should, history-wise, Tennessee's SEC history is, top overall athletic program in the conference, in my opinion and such. Hey, Caleb Calhoun.
Yeah, I think Florida's caught up there with baseball and softball.
I'd have to check in recent times about the total history. I mean, a lot of this, it does go back to, Neyland and, that era and so on. But, I remember opening up and looking at a media guide back in the 90s and just all the championships in all the sports as compared to the other programs. And at that time, yes, Tennessee was historically the top program in the SEC, but yes, with population now in Florida, and let's face it, I mean, they won the National Football Championship and basketball same year. Yeah, you might be onto something right there, so I do understand where you're going with that. Let's see here. This is Asian House Vols Talk with Caleb Calhoun of All for Tennessee, and we're going to hear from Asian House right after this.
All-American